6, 5, 4,
3,
2,
1.
1.
I feel like we're out of sync.
I think we were out of sync.
Okay, we'll do our clap test. It worked. All right, so on 1,
we have to leave this part of the podcast, and that is so funny.
Yeah,
doing the counting down and then the clap sync.
I thought I had a good idea. What can I say? But it doesn't work out all the time. So all right,
okay.
Clap sync.
We'll
Here we
do
go.
Clap sync. Okay. We'll clap on 1.
Yeah.
And then do you want to? We can, if you want, we can both count from 3. Like do 3, 2, 1, and then we'll both clap sync.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's do that.
Or we can even start from 5. That way we have ample time to sync back up.
Oh, you know what? That's even better. Just combine the 2.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right.
All right. We'll start from 5.
Yep.
Okay. 5,
4.
4.
Okay.
3.
Yes. We're already off.
We're
already
Why are we
off.
so bad at this?
What
Why
is
are we
going
so bad
on?
at this?
Okay. You know what?
Okay,
How about
okay.
you count? We'll do that.
Okay.
We'll do it. Okay.
Okay. 5, 4. Okay, we're gonna clap on 1, right? We're gonna I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we're
say
gonna-
1, and as I'm saying 1, we're gonna clap, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In theory.
This is so funny.
Okay. Let's do
Okay.
this.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wait, did you?
Okay.
Wait, I was supposed to clap on 1 or after 1?
On 1.
Oh my god.
We're like 4 episodes in. Why are we having such a problem with this now?
All right, one more time. This is it. If we don't get it this try, this episode is going to be out of sync, and there's nothing we're going to do about it, all right?
Yeah,
That's
we're
gonna be
gonna
the
be
way it is.
we're gonna be minutes out of sync too.
All right, okay. One more time. Here we go.
Okay. We're gonna clap on 1. Like as
Yep.
I say 1, we're gonna clap. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I think we got
Are
it.
we synced up?
I guess.
think we got it too.
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think that could have possibly been more perfect.
Oh, man. All right, well, here we are. We're back.
Welcome
and-
to Incoherent Story
Oh,
Ideas
man.
Part 2.
Welcome to your Incoherent whatever this was.
Incoherent synchronizing.
Yeah. Anyway, that was embarrassing, but we got it. I think we're good. Last episode, we did Billy's story ideas. And
Yes.
this episode, I tried to come up with some good ones to talk about. And it's cool because we're going to see a very stark difference in the stuff that we come up with. Because while you're more fantasy oriented, all of
Right.
my stuff has to do with science fiction. So it's
Right.
we have very different ways of coming up with stories.
So don't spoil it for me because I want every story idea that you tell me to be fresh.
Yeah.
I don't want you to confirm or deny this for me. But I'm assuming because last episode all of my story ideas were mainly magic systems that we incorporated into stories. I think yours are going to be more worlds that we'll incorporate into stories instead. I think it's probably what we're going to see here. That's what I think is going to happen. I think instead of here's how the magic system works, I think it's going to be it's a it's a world that's completely made out of lava.
That's a good theory. Yeah. Before I get into it, I do just want to say something I'm kind of excited about. I'm getting a new mic. It's coming in the mail as we speak at some point.
What kind of mic are we getting?
I don't know what it's called. I don't know. All I know is I'm broke now, so I guess it's that good.
There you go.
So
you gotta drop a nice pretty penny on it.
Yeah. My birthday's tomorrow, so I was like, you know what?
I did not even know that. What the heck? I didn't write that down.
I didn't either, dude.
Okay.
I didn't either.
Okay, Aiden's birthday.
Yeah, everybody write it down.
Yeah, we'll get all the birthday wishes, even though this episode's gonna be
It's gonna be way after.
2 weeks late. It's gonna be 2 weeks late or something, right?
Yeah.
Well, this episode will probably be released sometime in February.
But so January 18th is the day. So yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So if y'all want to send them fan mail or anything,
Yeah, please send me fan mail.
when we get a PO box, we'll let y'all know.
That would be What? Okay, so my birthday's tomorrow. So hopefully when I get this new mic, it'll stop sounding like I'm in a closet, which I may or may not be actually in a closet.
can't tell. I think your
Really?
audio, like, listening back on the, other ones that we've recorded, I think your audio sounds, like,
I feel like
fantastic.
I can tell whenever I listen to it. So I don't know. I
See,
mean, yours does sound better. It does sound better.
I would say it is completely, why do I always forget simple words? What is it called, where it's different by view? Different, I am so blanking on this word right now.
Is it like you're your own worst critic kind of thing?
Well, yeah, I would go back because I used to like try to record like YouTube videos and streams and stuff before, and when I would go back and watch them, I'm like, man, my audio sounds muffled, or I sound like I have my nose plugged up or something like that. And then I'd show it to somebody else, and they'd be like, no, you sound perfectly fine. I don't get it.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, because you don't know exactly how you sound different to yourself than you do to other people.
Mm-hmm.
When you go and listen to your audio, it sounds off-putting to you.
Yeah, and then you overanalyze everything. Like, I was noticing
Exactly.
I forget what they call it, but there's actually a term for it, but the sound that there is when you're not speaking, and it's just like, like a room sound. And I didn't realize...
that white noise kind of thing?
Yeah, and it's always there. And it's actually supposed to be there, because if you get rid of it, everything sounds weird. And I didn't realize that, and then I go and listen to other podcasts that I know have really good setups, and you can still hear it. So I'm like, oh, okay, I never noticed it when listening to other podcasts.
The same thing I was thinking when we recorded our first episode. I was like, man, when I'm not speaking, you can kind of hear this little like something's like blowing, or like an AC or something like that in the background, But yeah, I mean, like when I put the episode together and went back and listened to it, like unless you're looking for it, it's super not noticeable. And I feel like if you got rid of it, it would sound weird because it would sound like you and I are recording in like a void or something.
Yeah, I've done some cuts, and you can easily tell. So it's all a learning process. So hopefully, when I get a new mic, everything sounds better. And I guess we'll see. We'll see. But
yeah, I mean, I'm sure you'll know. I mean, even if everyone else doesn't notice the difference, as long as you're happy with it, I mean, that's all that matters, right?
You're right. As long as I'm happy with it, that is all that matters. Okay, it's my birthday. It's my birthday.
I want to get really bad a green screen, so you don't have to see one. Because I want to start. I want to start recording like my. Well, so I've like finished the script for like the first YouTube video. I'm like ready to upload.
Oh yeah.
But I'm like, man, I gotta like make my bed and stuff. You see my bed in the background. I don't want to do that. I just want to pop up a green screen and then call it good.
Yeah, I haven't used mine actually, so.
I gotcha. I mean, they're not super like wildly expensive unless I get like a crazy good one or something. I can just go get one of the ones that's basically just a stand that you throw like a green blanket over.
Yeah, it's basically that. It's just like a tarp, and
it's
not very expensive.
Gotcha.
But
it's a long 8-minute long tangent.
Yeah,
but
we're dialing it back.
We can bring ourselves back on track, and we can tangent once we're into the podcast a little bit more.
So again, I'm just running through some story ideas, and we're going to try and flesh them out and kind of fill in the blanks, if you will.
Yes.
So here's this first one. All right.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask, do you want to set this up how I did it last time, where you just like start with one, we flesh that one out, start with another, flesh that one out too, or?
Yeah, I think we'll just do that, and I'm just gonna pick and choose which ones to do first. I have a few.
That's exactly what I did. I didn't pick I started with my favorite one, and then after that it was just completely random.
Yeah, this one's actually my favorite, so we'll start here.
There we go.
All right, so hear me out on this one.
Okay. All right.
There's a chemistry teacher.
Okay.
Actually, he doesn't need to be a chemistry teacher. He can be a history teacher. Okay.
It's just a teacher.
Yes, just a teacher, right?
Okay.
High school. Yeah, somewhere around there. High school teacher.
Okay.
Gets diagnosed with an illness.
Oh.
Okay. Hey, hear me out. Look, it's going somewhere. Trust me.
I was about to say, I think I've seen this before.
No. I don't know. What are you talking about? No. Gets diagnosed with some sort of illness. Realizes, hey, he doesn't have much time left. All right. So what does he do? He starts selling drugs. What do you think of that one?
He starts doing drugs?
No, dealing.
He doesn't... Okay. Oh, dealing
Yeah,
drugs.
but he has a buddy that he works with who does do the drugs.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay, I thought you said he does the drugs. I was like, oh,
No.
okay, I like this flip, and his buddy makes them or something like that.
Nope.
But no, he's the one who deals them?
He deals them and with another guy.
I like this one. We could call it something like Broken Bad or something.
I don't know. I don't really. I mean, that's fine, I guess. But I could come up with a better name. I think something different.
We can name him Waller White or something.
I was thinking well, here's where it goes. Right, it starts there.
Okay.
But as the story progresses, he realizes that he's not really one for the drug business, right? So he opens up a burger joint, and it's called Heisenberger.
Okay.
But this is like the sequel series. So
okay.
Anyway.
We should pitch this one to the Breaking Bad.
Whoa! Hold on. Let's. I don't know. Breaking Bad.
You have to hear me out here, okay? Like, Breaking Bad. I'm not gonna say they ripped your idea off, but like you've had this one first, and then they just happened to beat you to it.
Yeah.
But since they've already got the success, how hard would it be to be like, hey, what if it went like this? Another spin-off series. More money for them.
Look, you're saying Breaking Bad. I'm not. All right, that's all you.
Okay.
Anyway, that was my first idea. I was just throwing it out there.
Breaking
Burger?
I like that. I
do like that one, actually.
I think that's a good one.
Anyway, look, I'm just throwing that one out there, right?
Okay.
You
I like
can.
it.
That one's for free too. All right. So anybody who hears that,
that one's.
I want some royalties.
Open source. Yeah. You can. That one's copyright free if you want.
Yeah.
You might get in trouble with somebody else, but not us. So.
Nope. Okay. All right. So that one, and then here's my first real one. Okay.
Okay. well, second real one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this one is, it's an alien. Okay. Hold on. It's not an alien abduction. It is, but it isn't. So aliens show up at Earth, right?
Okay.
And they start abducting people in like small groups or one by one. In fact, it only starts with one person. So they abduct one person. He disappears. No one knows where he goes. And then he comes back. And when he comes back, he goes out and he captures somebody else and takes them up to the ship. And then they disappear for a while, and then they come back and they also go out and abduct somebody else. So basically humans are getting abducted, they're coming back and they're taking people up to the ship, who then come back down and take people up to the ship again. So it starts this sort of chain reaction. Okay. And people start disappearing, and then they come back and they're violent, and they're trying to get people, they're trying to kidnap them or whatever. And it becomes this like epidemic thing. And you don't know what happens when you actually go up to the ship or what's going on up there, why these people are coming back completely different. And that's like the whole mystery side of the whole thing.
I like it. I have two kind of ideas here. One of them is kind of a joke, and the other one is like a serious, like, here, we could make something out of that.
I like both. Hit me with them.
Do you want to hear the joke first?
Yeah.
Okay, so the joke is, people are abducted by aliens, and the aliens are conducting this pyramid scheme where they're like, hey, we'll give you all this alien technology, but you have to recruit other people to do it, Yeah. You have to recruit 15 people in order for us to do this, right? Yeah. And so then they're like, oh, okay, so then they get dropped off. They go find these 15 people. They get them abducted, and the aliens just keep doing that.
The aliens are like, hey, I got these moon rocks, right?
Yeah, they're
stopped by your moon the other day.
It's the next big thing.
And I grabbed a couple, Look, I know you're not used to seeing aliens, and here you are all of a sudden. I know you're freaking out, you're going into shock, but look at this moon rock, all right? This can be yours. You just have to get 5 other people. in on this thing. That would be a lot of fun.
That would actually be a fun like comedy, like almost like a Rick and Morty style show. I think
I could see them doing.
I don't know what you call it, like door to door or something like that.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Okay, but the serious one, I realized kind of doesn't work because you wanted this to be kind of like shrouded in mystery. But I was thinking almost have like a Skinwalker kind of situation where it's not, it's people getting abducted, but it's not the same people coming back. It's like the aliens have taken their skin kind of thing. Like they're like wearing them as a costume, or like maybe they just like morph to look like them, and so it's like not really these people, and that's why they're like aggressive and stuff like that.
Right.
And so maybe you could like maybe not explicitly say that these are the aliens coming down, but you kind of hint at it. Whenever these people come back, there's certain like things that they do that normal people wouldn't do, or they don't understand like some customs. Like maybe somebody goes to like shake their hand, and they have no idea what to do. They're just like, what?
Right.
That would something like that.
Yeah, because that's something that, I guess could go either way, because you don't have to reveal anything, so it's like
right.
Yeah.
So I guess it could still work with your mystery, that you don't know why these people are coming back and sending other people up to the ship and why they seem different. It would just kind of hinted at, that these people are, not the same.
Yeah, and I think, like, on the flip side, though, here's what I'd say. Like, say you had a character who was very convincing in the sense that that, they don't want to go to the ship. They are completely against everything that's going on, and they're like, say they have somebody to protect, and they know, like, they would easily lay down their life to protect this person. Right. And they end up disappearing, and they come back, and they're not necessarily, like, speaking in gibberish, right? It's still them, but they're like, look, I was wrong. You gotta go. Like, come with me. Like, I was wrong.
I like that idea, because it's like, the other person would most likely very much trust this person who's like protecting, like maybe it's like a father and like a child, or a mother and a child, or something like that. Yeah. Or something, some sort of situation like that, And so the child, or, whoever the one being protected is, sees their guardian basically being like, no, we are not getting involved at all into that. And then they get involved with that. And then they're like, no, it's fine. Come on. Right. And so I like that dynamic a lot, actually.
And then it's cool because you don't know. You're like, what in the world could have happened to make this character do a complete 180? Like, what is it that goes on up there?
Yeah, they were so against this, and then all of a sudden they're all for it. So what could have happened? Right. So I like that, actually.
And then my last idea to like go on with that is like it opens the movie. Like I'm thinking of these in terms of movies, most of them at least. This one definitely though. So the movie would open with, for some reason, like a barnyard comes to my mind. It's nighttime.
Well, I mean, that's a very, it's an alien movie, the UFO wrecks in the barnyard kind of thing. That's definitely an alien movie kind of thing.
I'll play off that trope, but just for the first scene.
Well, I mean, it's an alien movie, you gotta, right? Yeah. You gotta, like, it's like making a callback.
Exactly. So, it's like on a farm, and then it just opens with this guy walking. And there's somebody running away from him. So it's like this chase scene. And at the end, he captures whoever it is. And you see him like dragging, like he like knocks them unconscious, drags like the body into like the middle of a field. And then you just see the lights like from a UFO or something. Right. Everything gets illuminated, and then it like cuts and the movie starts. So it's just a cool way to like open something up and have a bunch of mystery and be like, why is there an actual human taking another human up to an alien ship? And then so that was like the first thing that came to my mind when
I have another idea I would like to pitch for you for like almost like an ending to this.
Oh yeah?
Hit me. So like maybe you have like the main character is like, the young kid or whatever like that, whose parent, was like, no, we're not going on that ship. Or maybe it's not even a young kid, it's like a teenager or something like that. It's like the the person we were talking about before, whose guardian is like, no, we're not getting involved with this, and then gets involved with it and is like, no, go ahead and let's get involved with it, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe, they spend the whole, movie or whatever, trying to like escape these alien things that have taken the form or have mind controlled or whatever, the people that they know or these other people, right? And then they think they've like finally escaped them, right? And then they go to like turn on the TV, and it's like the president of the United States or something like that is saying like, oh, we have visitors from the sky, everybody can trust these people.
Oh, yeah.
They want to just like, show us all the stuff that they have in their cool spaceships. It's like basically this person realizing like, great, the United States is screwed.
Yeah. They've worked their way up.
Yeah, and I think that would be a cool way to just like end it, because then you're like, what happens next?
Yeah, that would be cool. That honestly would work really well as a show as well, because that could be like, a finale of some sort.
Right. I like that one.
Yeah, this was the first one I came up with.
When you and I
Other
are
than
like
Breaking Burger.
When you and I are like famous writers, and they're like, all right, y'all want to like pitch some story ideas to be turned into like a TV show or a movie? Let's pitch that one. I like that one a lot, actually.
Yeah, that one's fun.
I think that it's also like a good safe bet. It's like, it's not like too out there where you're like, oh, I don't know how many people are gonna like that. It's like, if you are into alien movies, that'll be right up your alley.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's probably the one that I have like most fleshed out, except for I have a game idea. I don't know if I said
right.
that.
I think I think that one was a very nice, simple one to flesh out. There's a lot of stuff you could do with it, but most of the stuff that you would do with it is very like, yeah, I can see it going that way on its own.
Yeah. So this second one I have, this one's just kind of a concept right now. It's just like somebody goes into cryosleep, and they're rudely awakened.
Is this the video game one, or is this
no,
just
no,
like
this is another story one. This one is kind of difficult because I don't want to like when I was thinking about it in my head, I immediately like went to comedy, and I was like, wait, no, Futurama exists, and I love Futurama, so that's probably why I even came up with this in the first place.
Right, that was your inspiration.
Yeah, so but try to have like a serious take on it, where someone goes into cryosleep and they're awakened by. I was thinking something like, say somebody is picked to basically travel to the future, but instead of going in a time machine, essentially what they're doing is like shooting them across space, putting them into cryosleep, and then bringing them back to Earth. So that way, so much time has passed on the planet that once they get back, it's a completely different, completely different place. But somewhere within that, something goes wrong, or maybe nothing goes wrong, and they awaken from cryosleep and they see the world around them. I don't know. That one I would have to definitely get more specific on, but
so would you want it to like, because there's several ways you could take that. Like would they come back to Earth and it's like, oh wow, all the humans are gone and it's like apocalyptic or whatever like that, or would you come back and it's just like everything's so futuristic that this character who lived in the early 2000s or whatever like that is just not used to these flying cars that are everywhere, and they have teleportation devices or whatever now, what is I guess kind of a very similar thing to what Futurama did, but you could definitely go for like almost like a horror thing, like maybe something took over the Earth or something like that.
That's what
like
I was
maybe
thinking, something like that.
While this character is like off planet, in their cryosleep, a visitor shows up to Earth and like totally just massacres the place, right? And so now it's basically this character trying to just survive.
Yeah, I didn't want to do like the whole like flying cars and stuff of that nature, just because Futurama.
Well, and I feel like it's a little too obvious, first thought for you're put into cryosleep or you time travel or whatever is just I've awakened in the future and everything's so amazing and techno and whatever so I think it's I'm sure it's been done where you go into cryosleep or whatever like that and wake up and it's all apocalyptic, but it's definitely been done way less than the other one has. So, because it's almost got like a Matrix-y feel.
A little bit. Yeah, that one I'm still kind of playing around with.
Speaking of which, did you see the like new Matrix movie?
No,
like
I didn't.
it's not like super new. It's like probably a couple of months old now. Like, I would almost say a
Isn't
year
it
old.
Matrix Resurrection or something like that?
Yes. It is so bad.
I think that's a year old, dude.
Yeah, it is so bad.
Yeah, that's a year old. Yeah, I heard it was really bad, unfortunately.
Yeah, I went to go watch it, and I was excited because I was like, the Matrix movies are like beloved by all. You know, it's like everybody loves the Matrix. You know, and I go into this movie, and it started, and I'm like, okay, when does it get good?
Yeah, the first one is the one that everybody loves. I think
Right, I've heard
that,
likability goes down a little bit as the series goes on.
Yeah, which I can see why. It's kind of I don't know. It's a lot to. It's just a very obtuse franchise.
Yeah,
There's a
well,
lot
and then
going
it kind of loses its charm. You know, like once you get to like the third movie, you're like, okay, you know, we get it.
Yeah.
Right, like in the first movie, you're like, wow, you know, like I've never seen a concept like this before. But by the third movie, you're like, all right, we're done with this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been already done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's about it for the cryo sleep one.
Gotcha.
There's
I like
not
that one.
so much I can come up with that one yet. Maybe I'll
I
come
think
back.
I think that one with a little bit of time, you could definitely come up with something. But it's definitely a little bit more abstract than the Alien one was.
Yeah. So moving on to my third. I mean my fourth.
Fourth, yeah.
Interview. Okay, I can see. Okay, this one has to do with. So there is this old man, and this old man is known around. He's pretty. I wouldn't say popular. I guess infamous is the word. I don't know. Everybody knows him because he's trying to. What? Go
infamous
ahead.
Infamous is like everybody knows you, but for a bad reason. Like if you blew up a bridge.
Well, yeah.
You'd be infamous because everybody knows the guy who blew up a bridge, but they know you as the guy who blew up a bridge, not as like this good person kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, he's not infamous, but he's known because he's trying to develop like a humanoid synth, something that resembles a human and has, artificial intelligence. That's what he's worked on, and he kind of hides away on his own, working towards this goal. Well, one day, okay, actually no, hold on, dialing it back. The story is within an interrogation room.
Okay.
And there's a detective or an interrogator, and on the other side of the table is a person who is being questioned about the death of this man who was trying to create humanoid sense, right?
Right.
And he was killed, and they show a picture, and so this detective is questioning this person who was the only person known to have been around him at the time, and the detective is trying to figure out if the person across from them is indeed a person or if they are a machine.
Oh, so they don't know if the scientist was successful.
Yes. So essentially, it all takes place within the interrogation room. So they're questioning.
So I'm assuming this would be more of a short story then. Huh?
Yeah. So it'd be like an episode of Black Mirror. So there's because there's another show, I forget what it's called, but it's a British show, and it all takes place inside an interrogation room. Each episode is different. So it'd be almost like that. So he's interviewing the synth, and the thing is he's worried because if it's not an actual person, he doesn't know what they're capable of. But two, if it is a human, then he has to play by the rules. But if it's not, he could shoot it right then and there, and he won't suffer any repercussions because it's a machine.
Right, because it's not a real
in his eyes. At that point, there's no robot rights or anything. So yeah, in his eyes, he's like, if this is indeed a machine, I could kill it right now for killing that guy, and the day's over. So there's this and this, when it really gets down to it, you'd have to write the interaction, because that's really where the meat of it is.
Yeah,
the tension.
You'd have to write a really compelling not interactive story, but some really interactive dialogue and character interaction and stuff.
Right. So yeah, he's trying to figure out if this, and I'll just say it, it is a machine. It's not a real human.
Okay.
So what where I think of it is like the tensions start to rise. They start to rise, and then at some point, I forget what happens. I think, yeah, okay. So the detective, he's getting suspicious, and also, you know how they have the two-way mirror thing.
Yeah, where
I don't know if
you can see them on one side, but on the other it just looks like a mirror.
So on the other side, he knows that there's more detectives over there, and then for some reason, he starts to get suspicious, and tension builds up, and at a certain point, he ends up shooting the person, and he realizes that he was correct, that it was a machine.
Okay.
And then, like, the people on the other side of the two-way mirror, or one-way mirror, they come in, and he shoots them too, and it turns out they're machines. And then he, like, is freaking out, or then he realizes, like, he has some sort of epiphany or something, shoots himself, he's a machine.
Oh.
This is one idea, right? Okay, it's getting crazy. And then the camera would pan out, pans out, and you see the old man sitting there. And he's like, happens
experiment.
every time. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's like, damn it.
I have another kind of idea built off this concept for you.
Okay.
It would still be a short story, and it would be pretty dark.
Okay.
Essentially, you have the man trying to create human life out of a machine, right? He's trying to make this as close to human life as possible, right? Mm-hmm. And so the story would basically just be, him talking about all of his failures, and like how, every machine, it gets close, the AI is super advanced, but it's not living, it doesn't feel like a human would,
Yeah.
And so then maybe it, near the end of the story, climax-ish area, you get to the point where he succeeds, he creates this, like, humanoid synth, and basically it just says, like, I don't want to live anymore, and, like, kills itself.
Oh, God.
And so then he's like, I don't want to be in this line of business anymore, and he quits. He quits
that's
right there.
it?
He's like, I'm done.
Oh, God.
And that's where the story ends.
Yeah, that would work as a short story. It really would. Yeah,
but I like yours, too. I think that's, like, a really good idea, because it's a big, like, really flips your mind, because you're like, what the heck is going on? Mm-hmm. And then it, like, comes out, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, and to keep it from being, like, too, like, because it can be a little bit too, a little too M. Night Shyamalan, with, like, a twist. So maybe I would, like, dial it back, and it wouldn't be that crazy.
Well, I kind of like that, though, the whole fact that it's like, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that was the robot, that he shot, and then those dudes come in, and he shoots them, and they're robots, too, and you're like, whoa, no, wait, they're robots, and then he shoots himself, and he's a robot, and you're just like,
what is going on?
Yeah, like, what? And then it zooms out, and you're like, oh, okay. I think that's such a good idea.
Yeah, I think, also, I think, because each one would be, would have artificial memories,
right?
Placed by the guy, the inventor.
Right. So yeah, like the inventor makes them all think that they're humans, right?
Right. So maybe as the detective synth is figuring out that the suspect synth is a synth, and now he's realizing what the signs are, and then he's thinking about his own memories and thinking about inconsistencies and things that
maybe he like picks out the like holes. Like maybe he tries to think of like his parent or something like that. He's like, I can't think of their name.
Yeah.
Because like maybe the doctor or the scientist didn't program. He just programmed like a vague memory of a family member or something in their head. Not a specific one.
Right. And so his way of testing that theory is to kill his partners or whatever. They walk in, he shoots them. Once he realizes that they are machines, then he's like, that's it. Like, he knows what he is. Mm-hmm. And then he ends it there.
I like that idea. Okay, so maybe he doesn't, maybe whenever the partners come in, he doesn't immediately be like, I'm going to test this out and shoot the partners. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's like freaked out because what the synth, he was interrogating is saying is making him think like, man, I have a really similar experience to this guy. And he shoots him and finds out he's a synth, right? His partners come in, and so he's like pointing his gun at them and like interrogating them now.
Yeah.
And when they start answering like that synth does, he's like, okay, they're synths too. And so he shoots them. And then he's like, man, my experience is so similar. And so then he's like, I gotta do it. And then he shoots himself.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's such a good idea.
It could even...
Yeah. At first, I was like, okay. And then you're like, this, like, mind boggler right here. I'm like, whoa, okay.
There's a bunch of different directions I feel like I could take this in.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, you could just, oh, it was the scientist experiment, or you could totally, take it wherever you wanted.
Yeah. So that's one idea. Or it could legitimately be a situation where it's not an experiment and that scientist really did die. At the hands of the machine. So, I don't know. I'm always something to think about, but I really do like that one. That one might be my second favorite.
I think that is a really good one. I think that one, I would really say that one's probably one I would consider writing into something.
Yeah, I think that one would work really well as a short story as well.
I really think so. Like a short story or a short film or something.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to make that as a short
hey.
film, whatever.
We'll keep it on the backlog. Okay, everyone listening to this podcast, you are not allowed to recreate this. If we see something that is like this, we're coming after you.
Yeah,
for copyright infringement.
Hey, you can have Breaking Burger. Okay, that's yours.
We'll be coming
That's
after
anybody's.
you with the full force of Breaking Burger. Okay.
Yeah.
But when you and I are able to let's say years down the road, we're like real committed to this. This is our job right here. We've got the budget to make some high production stuff.
Yeah.
We'll do this. I like this idea a lot.
Yeah.
We'll put this together.
Thank you. Yeah, if no one does it by then. So,
hey, we have a promise, okay? All of our listeners, we have a mutual respect with them right now.
This is a pact now.
They told me personally that they won't cheat off of our idea.
Okay, cool. Good.
Or if you do, give us credit. Say inspired by.
Yeah, if you do, just
Aiden.
make it good, please.
Yeah, don't make it this crappy thing that other YouTubers or whatever watch and make fun of. Like, make it this thing where everyone's like, "Wow, did you see this video on YouTube?"
Yeah. And then clip me talking about it, and I'll take credit.
There you go. Link this podcast. Link this podcast episode in the description,
please. But that one I do like that one. So my fifth one, and this one I kind of was on a whim a little bit, but essentially it's like somebody, like, think of the Joker.
Okay.
Like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Right.
And how he doesn't really, or is he the best version of the Joker? Yeah, I'll just say him.
I think it really depends, so he's definitely the version of the Joker that explores
not the best version. Heath Ledger is my Joker. For the record.
Absolutely.
Like,
I would just say that if you're looking for a Joker who's explores the Joker's mental illness, I think Joaquin Phoenix is definitely the best form of that. I think Heath Ledger definitely portrayed the Joker perfectly. Mm-hmm. But I think if you're thinking of the Joker as a mentally ill person, I think Joaquin Phoenix definitely took the cake for that one.
Yeah, that one actually, we could even talk about that movie for a little bit because I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of that movie.
You're not a huge fan of the Joker, of the Joaquin Phoenix one?
Nope, not
really.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I wasn't like everyone else, was praising it like it was this crazy spectacle. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was wow, that's, wild or anything. I definitely thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it was I think it was a movie, I don't regret watching it. But for me, it was just a one-time watch, and that's it, because, I don't know, I was kind of just disturbed. Because it didn't feel like the Joker. It didn't feel like I don't know, when I think of Joker, obviously I think of Heath Ledger, or,
right,
the typical Joker
you're used to seeing. Well, and then it was definitely a bold move of them to make a movie about a Batman villain without incorporating Batman into it at all.
Yeah.
The only bit of Batman you see is, they talk about the Waynes a little bit, and they showcase the Waynes just a tiny bit, they're Like, they're in the story so little that, if you'd only seen it once, you might even just forget that it happened.
Right.
So that was definitely a bold move on their part. They definitely, took the Joker name and definitely put their own spin on it for certain.
Which I'm open for that. Like,
yeah.
I have no problem with the movie.
I don't think that was a bad idea at all on their part. Because they did put together a very well movie. If they had decided they were going to make a Joker movie and then just completely crap on, the idea of the Joker, then I would have had an issue. But, they did seriously put forth some really good effort here, so I have no problems with what they did at all.
Yeah, I think for me it was just like, it wasn't, I was going into it expecting like a fun time, but it didn't really feel like a fun time. It was more like depressing and dark and
yeah, it was definitely meant to be a disturbatory film, where afterwards you're like, ooh, that made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, but one funny
for.
thing about that is Joker spoilers incoming.
Yeah,
at the end of the movie, when he shoots Robert De Niro, my grandpa laughed so freaking hard in the middle of the theater. It was like instant.
Have you seen all those memes that people have where Joaquin Phoenix is being interviewed by like Jimmy Fallon, and they like edit it so he's like, "Did you really just bring me on here to make fun of me, Jimmy?"
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then Jimmy Fallon like looks at the camera like, "Uh-oh." Oh, those are so funny to me.
Dude, it was that moment. It was just like the most inappropriate moment to break out into laughter.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, that's always like.
It was great.
I can't think of what other movie I'm thinking about, but there's another movie that has like a pretty gruesome death scene, but it was just kind of goofy, and so I remember chuckling at it, but I was like, oh, I shouldn't chuckle at that. I can't remember what movie it was though.
Was it Midsommar?
It's gonna bother. No, I don't think I watched that one actually.
Oh god, that movie has disturbing death scenes.
Is that disturbing?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to know about a disturbing movie? There's a movie called, I think it's called The Ritual?
The Ritual.
Or something like that? The Ritual. Let me look up and see if this is the right one I'm thinking of. Yes. It's not a very good movie. Like, it's not, like, super crazy.
Oh, it's on Netflix, huh?
Yes. But I would say it's pretty interesting. And, it definitely, like, throws you through the whole, like, is the main character going insane right now? Or is this actually happening? Kind of thing,
yeah.
It's definitely a very, like, disturbing movie.
Do you watch a lot of horror movies? Or do you like horror movies?
I watch them occasionally. I've always wanted to, because I have an idea for like a story, like an actual novel that I want to write that involves horror.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I'm thinking about that novel, I'm like, I want to watch a horror movie to like get in the horror writing mood,
Yeah.
And so then I'll watch something like that, and I don't care super much for the like, oh, jump scare horror, I much more care for the one, where you leave the theater like, that freaked me out,
Yeah, so...
And so I always try to look for those ones.
Yeah, so I've recently been watching a lot of South Korean movies, just in general. But specifically South Korean Korean horror movies they're very different from what we're used to seeing.
I've never seen any of these South Korean movies like all the way through, but I've seen YouTube videos talking about them, and they all seem very well put together.
I've seen quite a few, and I could definitely give you some recommendations. But specifically with like the horror genre, like they don't hold back.
Right.
Sometimes, and in fact, most of the endings in those movies are actually really depressing. It's not like I don't know where
like a happy ending.
Yeah, there's never a happy ending. It's always something that's like there's actually no, because I don't want to spoil a movie. But yeah, it's very, in that sense, it's pretty realistic, because it's like if you're living in a horror movie, it's probably not going to end well, and that's how a lot of those movies end up. And it's a different take, and I do actually really like those movies, but I have to be in the right mood for something that's not going to leave me with a happy feeling at the end. But anyway, that side tangent. Where was I?
We were talking about
Joker.
The Joker, yeah.
So okay,
I think you were talking about how the Joker incorporated into the story, and then we totally went on a uncomfortable movie tangent.
In an incoherent movie tangent.
Yeah.
So yeah, so picture someone like the Joker. It doesn't even have to be Joaquin Phoenix's, but just somebody who doesn't care, who has like no
Right.
care about the world at all whatsoever. Now
Okay.
think if that person was very, very, very smart. Now think if that person invented a time machine, right? Usually, if a scientist creates a time machine, they're going to be very wary about paradoxes and how it works and how how the universe works around it and how it works with the universe.
Right.
But
They
if
don't
someone
want to change and shatter the timeline too much.
right, so what I'm thinking is there's this person who doesn't care. Like they're done. They don't care if the universe ends tomorrow. So they create a time machine and they go through and they're just prepared for the worst. And it doesn't matter to them. And so, I was trying to think of like different things that could go along with it after they
Right.
enter the time machine, and maybe it ends up that they do end up caring or not, or
Right.
just think it'd be interesting. Like say this person goes back to the 1700s and they bring a time machine with them because they're just prepared to mess everything up, right?
Right.
And they give a time machine to the people in 1700, and now say you go back to present day and you see what life was like if back then they had a time machine. I don't know.
Or you could like do like everyone wonders like, oh, what would happen if you went back to a caveman and gave them an iPhone or something, right?
Yeah.
Do something similar like that, just like, oh, I wonder what happens if I do this, and then goes back and sees what the outcome is.
Yeah. But that's just so that one's just that's just the basic idea of it. I think there's different stories you can make with that character.
Right. Right. I guess what my main question would be, what would be the motivation behind like doing this?
Well, yeah. See, I don't know. I haven't really thought about this one too far to really say.
Right. So maybe it's somebody who has lived to the end of time. Like maybe like I don't know how to explain it. Like time machines have been around for a little bit,
Yeah.
or maybe time machines have been around forever, but just like been a secret society kind of thing.
Yeah.
And at some point the timeline ends, and so once this character has reached the end of this timeline, they're like, I'm at the end of the timeline. It doesn't matter what changes because it's just gonna end at some point. So might as well go and like experiment with the timeline, right? Go ahead and just see what happens with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. There's the thing with time travel is it's always going to be like a convoluted, incoherent mess.
Yes.
Um,
Time travel is definitely very difficult to get right.
So you have to be prepared for all of that.
It's a very daunting monster to write about.
Yeah, I think I was interested about the subject because I watched this movie. It's a low budget movie. It was $7,000, filmed in Dallas. It's about like a little over an hour long. It's called it starts with a P, but it's a time travel movie, and it's some say it's like one of the best depictions of time travel.
Is it called Primer?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So it says Primer is a 2004 American independent
But how'd you find
psychological
it?
science fiction. I just looked up low budget time travel movie.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
But yeah, that movie is really cool because the means of time travel in that movie are very like pretty simple. Like there's a process to it. And yet by the end of the movie you have no idea what the hell's going on. So you have to watch it like multiple times to really get the full picture of it. That movie was really cool just seeing something that was low budget but be so effective at such like a crazy concept like time machine or time travel. But yeah, I think that got me in a little bit of a time travel mood with this particular idea.
I gotcha.
But
that
I would
always
recommend
happens
that
to
movie.
me. That always happens to me with wanting to write stories is, you like watch or read or, observe something that has to do with some kind of genre and you're like, man, I could do something with that genre. I could write something really good for that.
Yeah.
And so it like gets me in that like mood for it.
So
speaking of low budget films, I think what are those films called where they had the like camera set up? Paranormal Activity. Aren't those like super
found footage?
low budget Like, aren't they super low budget films that like were extra? Yeah, look, $15,000 for the first Paranormal Activity budget, and I mean those movies are like super high grossing movies, aren't they? Yeah, look at this.
Yeah.
For box office, it's $193.4 million.
Wow.
That is such a crazy profit.
Wow.
I've always thought that it would be really fun to do one of those, just like the, filming with the, just whatever camera kind of things. Because, it would take, like, no money at all to film a movie like that. And if you're a really good storyteller, you could always put together a story that's, worth that professional equipment and stuff,
Yeah.
That professional budget.
I really do want to make a movie, like a low budget thing.
We should do that. We should get together and brainstorm some script ideas and like put together some kind of low budget film.
Absolutely. Well, then in that case, you should definitely watch Primer because, like, regardless of if you care about time travel at all, it's just cool to see how they told a story without having very many resources.
Right. Yeah. So just the low budget like storytelling because you can't utilize CGI wherever you want. You're limited on your props and stuff like that. So how do you tell a story? Mostly without that, right?
As well as a set, like you don't have a bunch of people. You don't have
because more often than not, you're going to be recording out in a location, most likely, right?
Right.
Not in your studio or whatever.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I like that.
So my last thing. Have you ever played? This is the game idea, by the way.
Okay.
Have you ever played the Stanley Parable?
I have not, but I have seen like YouTube videos, and so I'm fairly familiar with it.
Yeah, so I was playing that game last week, and it got me thinking. I was like, I've never played a game like this. And if you don't know what the Stanley Parable is, for anybody that might be listening, it's a game where essentially you're just you're a man working in an office, and there's a narrator, and you start the game and you walk through the office and there's nobody there, and the narrator is kind of like telling you where to go, but you can go wherever you want. So if you go somewhere else, then the narrator calls you out, and basically there's like tons and tons of different endings, and each place that you go, whatever path you go, there's a different ending that happens or a different story that unfolds, and it gets crazy. Like if you go down this hallway through this door down here, then you end up in like Minecraft, and the narrator explains where you are, and like there's so many crazy things. It's a very trippy game. It's a very
because it's like it's very fourth wall breaky. And
yes,
it definitely throws you for a bit of a trip.
Yes, it's very self-aware and just very complex. I was thinking about a game like that, and then also thinking like Hello Neighbor, where it's a house, but the house on the outside looks all crazy, but when you go inside, there's all these different rooms and weird stuff going on. And I really love that concept of there's being so many different paths you can go on.
So maybe it's like a pretty, not a super big house or anything like that. When you walk in, it's like huge on the inside. Like definitely doesn't fit the size of the exterior.
Yes. So I just really love that idea of being able to explore this place, and you have no idea what's going to happen. You go down one place and you end up at the center of the universe. Just some crazy stuff that can happen. Or you go down another place and it's something very normal, So I was thinking of a cool game concept that would be able to do that. And I was thinking about similar to Hello Neighbor, where it's a house. And we're going back to a detective. There's a detective that is going in this house. And I picture it like this. You know how in Despicable Me, Gru's house looks a lot different than his neighbor's?
Yeah, it's like you have all these cookie cutter, what do you call it, suburb homes, and then you have this like dark looking shack almost, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if it would look like a shack, but I just want it to look different than everything else.
Right. Like if you're looking at all the houses, that one like sticks out.
Yes. So
gotcha.
Basically, the owner of the house is like kind of this unhinged guy, and he just kind of disappears. And so you're this detective, and you you're going into the house to look for him. And upon entering the house, everything looks normal. But once you start exploring and looking around, it's way bigger, first of all, than it looks like on the outside. And you start going down these different paths, and it's similar to the Stanley Parable, where different things happen. You fall down here, and it opens up into an endless void. Or, and then one thing too is, for the story of the game, I want the guy there who lived in the house to have been working on something to travel to different dimensions. And I think maybe his reasoning for that is because he wants to find a dimension with like his daughter or something, something he lost.
Gotcha.
And so he basically works on trying to find interdimensional travel in his house. This is reminding me a lot of Rick and Morty.
What's that? I was just about to. I was thinking. I was like, this has got some Rick and Morty vibes to it.
It does.
It's not bad though. I think it's a very I think this would work very well as a video game.
Yeah.
Because you could there's however many rooms you could explore. When you get into that house, and then behind every door you could just put whatever you wanted in.
Yeah.
It's trippy, so it works.
So he's working on this means of interdimensional travel, build a machine for it, and basically in this universe, if you find the key to traveling between dimensions, you basically break a part of the universe. So his house is fractured into multiple dimensions, and so when you step through, everything is fractured into multiple dimensions, and it goes in different places, and somewhere there's the old man that lives there. And so you're going through and you're looking through all these places, and I was trying to think of a way where you could get the story of the old man who lives there while you're playing the game, and it could be something like a video log.
Or so you could also maybe he was a journaler or something like that, or you as you're because his house is fragmented into these different dimensions. As you're walking, maybe you see a picture frame with him and a family, and then you see a child's teddy bear or something like that. You could do very simple storytelling, not just explicitly saying what the old man's story is, but through little bits and pieces, kind of leading the player to being maybe the old man's trying to find his family or something.
Yeah, that would be, I think, I would have to decide whether or not I want it to be out in the open, or something that you have to just be paying attention and actually want to see.
Right, yeah. It could be very subtle.
But yeah, so that's kind of the idea for the game, is to have
that's interesting.
Trippy, dimensional game. I don't know. Just an idea.
So
the Stanley Parable is super cool, by the way. I would
what you could almost do, instead of having the main character be a detective, you could have the main character maybe being a grandchild of this old man. And his grandpa's mysteriously stopped returning his calls, or maybe it's a neighbor, and you used to see him go out every single day to get the mail, and then it's been a week since he's gone and got the mail. So you're oh, I wonder what he's is he okay in there? So you go to knock on his door, nobody's home. You look in all the windows, nobody's home. So then you just decide, okay, I'm gonna try the door. It's unlocked, and then you just start exploring this house basically.
Yeah, well that would almost become Hello Neighbor, but
so I haven't played Hello Neighbor, so I might be ripping that off a little bit.
I forget how it starts exactly, but you're the neighbor across the street, and I forget why he ends up going there, but yeah.
You're a little kid in Hello Neighbor though, right? You're not an adult.
No,
right?
You're an adult in the first one.
I thought you were a little kid in Hello Neighbor for some reason.
No, in the first one you're an adult. I don't know if at a certain point you see yourself as a kid, but let me check so I'm not wrong.
Gotcha.
Hello Neighbor.
Look up if it's.
Yeah. So, I wonder what happened with that game.
I think there's a second one that just came out not too long ago.
Yeah, you're an adult.
Hello Neighbor 2. This came out in 2021. So it's 2 years old for Hello Neighbor 2.
So I don't know if this is too similar to Hello Neighbor,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's different because it has like the dimension stuff, and obviously the story would make it different. But
Right, so it'd be like
I'm not sure.
a merging of Hello Neighbor and the Stanley Parable, huh?
Yeah, with its own, I guess, what would you say, aesthetic or some
Right,
story? Yeah. So
right.
almost like a merging,
Its own different plot line.
right?
But
So
I see where the dynamic is though. I like it.
yeah, I would really like to make that game at some point.
All of your ideas were way more fleshed out than mine. Like I didn't have to give you almost like any like, oh, we should take the story this way, or I think the story would work very well this way. You like already had your stories all fleshed out.
It's because I the other night I didn't get any sleep. I got like two
I gotcha.
hours. So the entire night I was
Just
just like,
brainstorming?
yeah, I was just brainstorming. And
I got you. Yeah, because with mine, I was like, oh, here's a good magic idea. Let's build something around it. You've got like I'm surprised you haven't started writing these already.
yeah, some of these I don't know if they're gonna work. The cryo sleep one or the time machine one, but the other ones I think
I
would be a lot of
definitely,
fun.
I really like the alien abduction one a lot.
Yeah,
I really like the synth one
yeah.
a lot as well, and then I also really like the last one that we talked about as well.
The video game.
What were the other ones that we talked about? So I know there was Breaking Burger, there was
Well, I'm surprised.
the Time Machine.
Surprised that one wasn't your favorite.
Well, it would have been my favorite, but
I mean,
it's got to be on the back burner. I don't think we have the budget for that one yet.
well, I mean,
These other ones are within our we could do them now.
yeah, but you do recognize like as an idea, it's the best
Oh,
one.
I mean that's definitely like Grammy award winning work right there.
okay, cool.
It's just it's like how James Cameron didn't want to release Avatar 2 until the technology was out.
Yeah,
The technology isn't out for Breaking Burger yet.
that's true. That's true.
People aren't ready for Breaking Burger.
They're not ready. They're
We
not
gotta make
ready.
that a T-shirt. Breaking Burger.
Breaking Burger or Heisenberger.
The
But
dude will get his hair back when he starts making burgers.
yeah, and then he cooks like meth into the burgers, and so everybody just gets addicted. And they're like,
Yeah,
these burgers are so good.
The
And-
most popular joint in town.
Yeah, he makes a meth empire, but with a burger joint.
Cops come to like investigate, and they're like, "Man, this stuff is so good. I don't know if I want to investigate him. Like, I think we should just let him be."
Yeah. I feel like someone's done that. Like every time I think of an idea, I feel like that was I feel like I've seen a bit where someone did that.
So, I don't remember
know.
who said it. I'm gonna look this up real quick. But somebody has said that there's no such thing as an original idea. Who said there is no such thing as an original idea? Because the concept is, Mark Twain. There is no such thing as an original idea. No matter what you come up with, it's been done before. The people have been around for too long for anything to be considered original anymore. So even if it's like been done before, I mean, putting your own spin on it, it's it's different enough that it's fine. Because even Star Wars is very similar to other stuff. It's like I don't remember exactly what George Lucas took inspiration from, but in Star Wars, there's people go back and analyze it. It's there's big parts of Star Wars that are like almost directly ripped from other pieces of fiction.
I guess you could say Star Trek was probably a big influence.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up too. Actually, what were the influences behind?
But yeah, if you look at all of these ideas, they all do definitely have parallels to different things. Of course, the game one is obvious. But
right. But I mean, like, as far as like the alien abduction one and the synth one, I mean, I can't think of like that. That's super original. I think
You
that's
think so?
very yeah. Because I mean, I can't. I mean, the synth one. I mean, maybe for the interrogation thing, you're kind of leaning into Detroit Become Human, but not so much that like we're ripping it off because you immediately steered away from that.
Yeah.
And then I mean, I can't think of anything that's been like that alien one. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch a whole lot of alien movies, so I'm sure there's something out there.
I love alien stuff. If there's a new Alien movie, I immediately get excited. Although, I can't say that without saying that I haven't seen Nope yet. Jordan Peele's new movie.
I haven't seen that either. Have you heard if it's good or not? I haven't heard like anything about it.
So it's almost like how. Well, I can't think of a good example right now. I've seen Get Out and Us, and I love those movies. Or actually, I love Get Out was one of my favorite movies. Us, I did like Us, but yeah, Nope was I guess a little bit more mixed because I don't know exactly how it is, but it's not your typical alien movie, which no one was really expecting that.
Right.
But I know that there's some because my uncle was really excited. He went to go see it, and yeah, I just know that it's very different. So you can't really expect anything. So I feel like with a lot of things, you can't. With a lot of work similar to his, you can't expect
with
anything.
Jordan Peele's style. Is it Peele or Peely?
It's Peele.
Peele with his style, in particular, it's definitely like, you go in expecting something and it totally delivers something different. Like that's definitely what he goes for.
Right. So if you go in expecting a normal alien movie, it's not gonna.
I definitely think that same concept follows along with everything that you've just spoken of today. All of everything. Every story idea that you told me has that, spin of like, oh, you think this is how it's going to end up, and then we totally spin it around, flip it on its head, and it is completely different now.
Yeah.
I liked it though. I've always been a bit like H.P. Lovecraft kind of style writing, where it's like, you don't know if what's going on is really going on. It's this wacky thing. What if the main character is just going crazy? Kind of idea. I've always been a big fan of that style of writing.
Could we agree that Cthulhu is the scariest monster?
Yeah. He's scary enough that you just can't even comprehend him. Yeah. Isn't that that's the lore behind him, right? That like even just looking at him completely just messes your mind up, right?
Yeah, there's something about
and his name. Well, because I think in the story it's supposed to be that like the depiction of him is like a simplified this is what people can comprehend, but his form is just so incomprehensible that it's just like you just can't even it's like cosmic horror kind of thing where it's just completely beyond our understanding.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, cosmic horror.
Like even his name Cthulhu, that's not how so that's like how humans would pronounce it, but it's like pronounced a different way. It's impossible for humans to pronounce his name properly, is what I've heard. I don't know. I've only read a little bit of H.P. Lovecraft, so I've got a book called, what is it called? I can't see it from here. It's called like the Tales of H.P. Lovecraft or whatever like that. And it's just like basically all of his short stories into one book. Mm-hmm. I've read like half of it.
I haven't read any H.P. Lovecraft, but
most of the influence I've gotten from H.P. Lovecraft has been video game related and stuff, because there's a lot of video games that take what he as what he wrote about and then put it in movies too. Like, you ever watch The Thing?
I haven't seen it all the way through. It was a long time ago too.
That one, very much takes some inspiration from H.P. Lovecraft. Basically, anytime you see a horror movie that involves some kind of unexplainable, people just don't understand this thing, you can find some kind of H.P. Lovecraft story that is most likely inspired that work of fiction.
Yeah, anything that has any sort of cosmic horror, Bloodborne is really popular for that.
Which, so crazy enough, I have never played Bloodborne before, but I want to say last week I watched, because Jacksepticeye, he claims it's his favorite video game, right? And so he's played it a handful of he's played it a handful of times on his channel. And so for the first time, I was like, because I'd seen little bits and pieces of people playing Bloodborne, but for the first time, I was like, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna watch this playthrough of Bloodborne, and it was so the story was so much cooler than I would have ever imagined. Because you go for the story for Dark Souls, the story for Elden Ring, it's there. But, you can play through the whole story and not even, or like the whole game and not even like realize that you were having a story explained to you, you know? But then you go into Bloodborne and it's like, you know, at some point you start seeing these like things that you didn't see before, and it's like everywhere, you know? It's like, it's crazy how
Yeah, I've heard about
in depth that game is.
I need to play it. Only have
I wanna
Elden
play it
Ring
real
under my
bad.
belt.
I've played a little bit of Elden Ring, like 8 hours of Elden Ring is what I've got under my belt. I've got 8 hours of Elden Ring and then like a handful of hours in Dark Souls 3. I'm just not a big like, I don't know. I definitely, I'm not gonna say I don't like From Software games. I think they're fantastic. It's just not my style of game. You know, I just don't. I
Yeah.
don't enjoy it as much as others do. But I do see the appeal in it. I would never argue that those are not appealing games. They're just, you know, I just don't. I just personally don't care for that style of game.
Yeah, they're not like they're not relaxing ever.
Right.
And
I'm definitely a casual gamer for
Yeah.
sure. There's never been a game where I'm like, I'm gonna get so competitive. Anytime I want to get competitive in a game, I immediately fall out of it. Like,
yeah,
if you want me to stick with the game, it's got to be very chill. I can play it for hours and not, you know, freak out the whole time.
yeah.
Whereas, you know, I tried to play Elden Ring, and I am stressed the whole time. Even just walking around, I am stressed because everything can kill you.
Yeah, you've never heard anybody say, "I'm just gonna relax and play some Elden Ring." It doesn't.
I mean, I'm sure
This doesn't work.
somebody says it. You know, there's those people who speedrun the game, you know. You ever seen those people
Oh,
speedrun the
yeah.
game on Twitch? They never seem like they're stressing out. They're just chilling the whole
But that's
time,
because
you
they've
know?
played all of them.
Yeah, they've played all of them, you know, millions of times over. They, you know, those people who play the game blindfolded, like, there's nothing in the game that can surprise them, you know?
I could never have the patience for that. That was the main thing was it tested my patience, and I don't have a ton of patience, so I'm really surprised I even got through the entire thing. I think I was
We
just
should
like, I spent
totally-
money on this, so I might as well.
I would love to do a co-op playthrough of. I mean, I know the co-op works a little different in not Dark Souls, Elden Ring, because you know it's like once you get into each area, you can like summon a friend or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
And so it's a little different than just like joining somebody's game, but you can still do it.
Yeah,
I think you and I should do a co-op playthrough of Elden Ring. I think that would be really enjoyable.
that would be fun. Yeah, and well, the thing with Elden Ring is you whenever you die, you get sent back to your own world. So
Okay.
that is one thing, and then to actually summon somebody, there's like a specific resource that you need in order to do that.
Oh, yeah. It's like some kind of like fingers, like a furled finger or something
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah,
And then I've heard that the way you do it, because, you know, typically when you do that, it just summons somebody random. But the way that you get around that rule is that you put yourself in like a private party or whatever like that, and then you and your friend are only in that private party.
Yeah.
So then when it goes to, you know, summon somebody random, the only option is your friend.
yeah, you have a password, and so you can both join up.
Which
like
I'm
that.
surprised they haven't already, like, because, you know, I mean, like, if, you know, that's how most people would play with their friends. I'm surprised they haven't integrated some way to just, you know, join your friend's game.
Oh, it's because they try to make them as like immersive as possible. So
Okay.
in order
And
to
so
not
it
break
would
immersion,
Kind of break the lore a little bit if you could just bring.
yeah, they try to
whoever you
make
specifically
everything within the world.
wanted.
So
I remember
what
I
has
was
to be
listening. I was listening to the podcast Intentionally Blank with Brandon Sanderson and Dan Wells.
yep,
And Brandon Sanderson is apparently a very big fan of From Software, right? And so
Yeah.
he was complaining that they picked George R.R. Martin to write the story for
Not
Elden
him.
Ring and not him. He's like, I'm a big fan. George R.R. Martin has enough on his plate. He's got to finish Game of Thrones. They should have picked me.
yeah.
That was funny.
I would have loved that. It would have been really cool. if he-
It would have been a
Cool.
different game because I think George R. R. Martin is definitely the dark fantasy type,
Mhm.
whereas Brandon Sanderson, I wouldn't even say Brandon Sanderson is the you know, like the typical just like traditional fantasy type.
Mhm.
He definitely writes his own form of fantasy, but it's not dark fantasy. You know, it like it's I don't even know how you would explain it.
I just have to read it, huh?
I mean I haven't read too much of his work, but I mean every bit that I have read I've been a big fan of.
Yeah. I need to get into some Brandon.
Who would you
Sanderson.
say your favorite author is and why?
Right now, it's Pierce Brown, the author for Red Rising.
Okay, you've suggested that book a lot to me.
Yeah.
And I've been meaning to give it a read. I have such a big list.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's a really good book, or book series, really. Yeah, he's on his like, I don't know, there's sixth and seventh book are coming out, and those are going to be the final ones. So now's as good a time as any to read it.
Gotcha. I mean, I've wanted to get into it. I mean, you were suggesting it, and it sounded very good. I've been meaning to.
It's
to
really,
give it a
really
shot,
cool.
Give it a read.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually have to reread it because I was in the middle of one, and then I think school started for me, and so it kind of got lost. And so now that the new ones are coming out, I'm gonna start reading it again at some point.
That's how Outlander is for my mom. She's read the Outlander series like so many times because, you know, she started reading it when they only had like 3 books out, and then they released book 4, so she read books 1 through 4 again.
Oh, wow.
And then they released book 5, so then she read books 1 through 5. And then, you know, I think they're on like 9 now, so she's read it. Oh my god. She's read it like 9 different times.
Wow. I don't know if I could do that.
I could never. Honestly, I don't even think I've ever reread a series. I've always meant to go reread Aragon, because it's the series that got me into wanting to like write and, you know, be a storyteller. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, you know, it's been a good probably 5 years since I've read Aragon. I should really go see if it holds up in my standards, you know?
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten around to it because, I mean, I was a big reader when I was a kid, apparently, because I remember looking at these Aragon books and being like, yeah, that's pretty doable. But now I look at them and I'm like, it's a little daunting. Those are pretty big books.
Yeah, they are. They're massive. They're always like the biggest, because they, like, those books aren't for, it's like YA. Is it YA considered?
I think it's young adult fiction. Yeah, I would say. I think it is.
Because I remember them being
YA
in the
fantasy.
library at like school and stuff, and they're always like the biggest ones.
Yeah, that's where I found them. Was in the library at my school.
Yeah.
I remember I got interviewed because, you know, I was always in the library. I was a little nerdy library boy. The school yearbook was like interviewing people about like their favorite books and, you know, what they would recommend for people to read. And I was like, everybody should read Brazinger by Christopher Paolini. And the yearbook people are like, what the heck is that? I've never heard of that before. Everyone else was suggesting, like, you know, John Green books and stuff like that. What are you suggesting? Or is it Hank Green who's the... No, John Green's an author, right?
Yeah, it's John who's the author. Hank's
okay, I knew
brother.
one of them was the author, and then one of them is more the YouTube personality, right? Or are they both the YouTube personality?
Yeah, both of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
so when I look them up, it says John Green, the author, and then when I look up Hank Green, it says the American Vloggers. So.
The American Vlogger. They both did internet stuff, but I think Hank does more nowadays.
Okay. He does have books here. When it says books, it does have a list of books he's written here.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them. An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor, and The Empire Strikes Back from a Certain Point of View.
What?
That was written not even all that long ago. The Empire Strikes Back, or From a Certain Point of View, The Empire Strikes Back.
Interesting.
It features 40 stories set during the period of Star Wars.
So...
Is that legal?
It's like a
bunch of short stories.
Biography of sorts?
I don't know. It's like... So I've got like this little sample here. It's definitely little short stories from, like, Star Wars-based short stories. I didn't know you could do that, though. I thought you couldn't sell stuff like that. I mean, unless you got, you know, explicit approval from Lucasfilms, I guess.
Well, really, Disney.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Whoa. Oh, it looks like there's like a bunch of people listed on here.
Oh, okay, so it's like a collaboration thing.
Yeah, like maybe each one wrote a different story or
I
something.
see, I
Yeah, because
see.
there's a bunch of people listed on here. Yeah, wow.
Oof.
I only recognize Hank Green's name on here.
Oh.
Yeah, I only recognize him.
Well, what do you think about ending it here?
I think now would be a good place to stop it. We had a good run going through all of your story ideas. Yours were definitely way more fleshed out than mine was, and I do think we went on a little bit more of a tangent spree this episode, but that is okay.
But it's incoherent for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, we're just not going to talk about our introduction where we couldn't clap
Oh,
sing
yeah,
for crap,
yeah.
but it's okay.
Yeah, that was...
You
that
don't remember
wasn't-
that.
That
You don't
never
remember
happened.
that.
Never
Just
happened.
remember, if you're going to take anything away from this podcast, just remember Breaking Burger.
Yes. Yes, but... Yeah.
That's
Well,
going to be our industry child right here. That's it's going to make us big.
Breaking Burger.
Yeah.
Heisenberger. Well, thank you for helping me flesh
Yeah.
out my story ideas.
I mean,
This has
I don't
been
feel like
fun.
I don't feel like I got to flesh too much out, but I'm glad I got to be at least of a little bit of help.
No,
I was
you
more
were definitely
here. I was
a
here
lot
for
of help.
encouragement mostly, I think.
No, like you need another perspective to really
I
understand.
do
where your
agree
idea is
that
going.
even if you're not collaborating on a story, it is so nice having somebody else there to be like, hey, that doesn't work super well or whatever, Because
Yeah.
you're totally like, oh, this is such a perfect story. Somebody else might come along and be like, that is the cringiest thing I've ever read.
or they can tell you like where it's been done before.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that is true. You don't want to get too close to another property, right?
yeah, you don't want a Breaking Burger on your hands,
Yeah.
So.
Well, they copied us. So.
Yeah, it's true. That's
Our
true.
our legal team will definitely be in touch with.
That's my legal
with
stance,
them.
by the way. Okay. So AMC, what's up?
Yeah,
What are you gonna
AMC target him specifically.
Whoa.
No,
This was a group effort.
I'm a hostage.
Alrighty.
No, that's yeah. Be looking forward. The next podcast will be called Breaking Bad.
The musical.
Yeah, Breaking Bad. Yeah, the musical. Shrek as a what do you call it? A guest.
Yeah, Breaking Bad the musical with special guest Shrek. There you go, ladies and gentlemen.